One soldier. That is all it took. Not a general, not a king, not a council of ministers debating in a marble room. One confused, frightened, or occasionally furious individual pulled a trigger or made a call at exactly the wrong moment, and the world cracked open. History books love to credit grand forces, economic pressure, political inevitability, the unstoppable tide of change. That is a comforting lie. Sometimes the tide gets kicked off by one person having an absolutely terrible day. These are 5 moments where a single soldier made a decision, and the consequences were so catastrophically disproportionate that historians are still untangling the damage. Boston, March 5, 1770. A crowd is harassing a group of British soldiers outside the custom house. Snowballs, rocks, insults. One soldier gets hit hard enough to knock him down. When he gets up, his musket fires. Nobody ordered that shot. Nobody in command wanted that shot. But it fires anyway. And then everyone fires. And 5 colonists are dead. And Paul Revere is already sketching his propaganda masterpiece before the bodies are cold. The Boston Massacre ignites colonial outrage like nothing before it. It feeds directly into the American Revolution. The Revolution feeds into the French Revolution. The French Revolution destabilizes Europe for 30 years and plants the ideological seeds for every major political conflict of the next 2 centuries. Conservative estimates put the downstream body count in the tens of millions. One knockdown soldier with a hair trigger started the clock on all of it. Sarajevo, June 28, 1914. Gavrilo Princip, 19 years old, member of a nationalist secret society, has already failed to kill Archduke Franz Ferdinand that morning. His co-conspirator threw a bomb. It bounced off the car. The Archduke survived. The assassination attempt is over. Everyone disperses. Princip walks to a deli to get a sandwich. He is eating his feelings. He is a failed assassin eating a sandwich. Then Franz Ferdinand's motorcade takes a wrong turn. The driver realizes the mistake and stops the car to reverse, directly in front of the deli where Princip is standing with his lunch. Princip steps forward, draws his pistol, and fires twice. Franz Ferdinand and his wife are dead within the hour. Austria-Hungary blames Serbia. Russia mobilizes. Germany mobilizes. France mobilizes. Britain mobilizes. 17 million people die in the war that follows. 20 to 50 million more die in the flu pandemic that the troop movements accelerate. The wrong turn, the sandwich, the second chance nobody planned for. That is World War I. Korea, 1950. The war is technically supposed to be winding toward a ceasefire. Both sides are exhausted. Negotiations are crawling forward. Then a series of engagements at the front line, driven by local commanders acting on their own interpretation of ambiguous orders, escalates into a full offensive push. Individual soldiers on both sides engage when they arguably had permission to hold. The ceasefire collapses. The war grinds on for 2 more years. 36,000 Americans die. An estimated 3 million Korean civilians die. The peninsula is frozen in a division that still has not formally ended. A technical state of war persists on the Korean peninsula to this day, and it traces a direct line back to soldiers at the front, making judgment calls their superiors never fully authorized. October 27, 1962. The Cuban Missile Crisis is at its peak. An American destroyer is depth-charging a Soviet submarine, B-59, that has been submerged so long the crew has no idea whether nuclear war has already started above them. The captain, Valentin Savitsky, decides it probably has. He orders the nuclear torpedo armed. Soviet submarines at that time required agreement from 3 officers to launch. The captain agreed. The political officer agreed. Vasily Arkhipov, the flotilla commander who happened to be aboard, did not agree. He refused. He argued. He held the line while the captain was furious and the crew was suffocating in 100-degree heat. The torpedo was not launched. The crisis de-escalated. The human species continued to exist. One officer on one submarine choosing not to nod. That is the distance between civilization and the end of it. Berlin, November 9th, 1989. East German spokesman Günther Schabowski is handed a note at a press conference announcing new travel regulations that will allow East Germans to cross into West Germany. He was not in the meeting where those regulations were finalized. He does not know they are meant to take effect the following day after proper preparation. A reporter asks when the new rules apply. Schabowski looks at the paper. The paper does not specify. He shrugs and says, immediately without delay. East Germans hear the broadcast. Thousands pour into the streets toward the checkpoints. The guards have no orders. One checkpoint commander, Harold Jaeger, decides he cannot hold the crowd and opens the gate. The wall comes down. The Soviet Empire in Eastern Europe collapses within months. A spokesman who missed one meeting and a border guard who made a judgment call dismantled the Cold War in a single evening. 5 soldiers. 5 moments of confusion, rage, hunger, stubbornness, or sheer bureaucratic accident. Each one sits at the hinge of a before and an after that reshaped the modern world. The lesson is not that individuals are all-powerful. The lesson is that systems under pressure become terrifyingly vulnerable to the smallest human variables. So, over to you. Of the 5 moments covered here, Vasily Arkhipov's refusal is the one that arguably saved every person alive today, and yet almost nobody knows his name. Is there someone in your own country's history who quietly prevented a catastrophe and has never once been taught in schools? Tell us in the comments. If you want more stories like this one, subscribe to Deep Dive History. We upload every week, and we promise every video will have at least one moment that makes you put your phone down and stare at the ceiling for a second.